Well, good morning, everyone. Good morning and welcome, especially my daughter, because this is what this whole series is dedicated to. I'm going to turn off the AC. Anyway, I'm Henry, and this is the first installment of messages to my daughter that I'm crazy about, and all of anybody else who happens to come and visit. Scripture says that when all the people had to go and test their oxen or look at land they purchased or to go and be with a wife they just married, they had all these reasons why they didn't want to come and listen to be part of the party, the celebration. And then the king was furious and said, go out and get anybody, get everybody. If they're in the gutter or wherever they are, get them and bring them. And this is how this little messages to my daughter series is going to be about. Whoever comes, love to have you. But in regards to this, my daughter, your aunt has had a question about fruits and vegetables, and I told her that vegetables were only introduced into the diet um, after the fall. Prior to the fall, it was seed bearing fruit. He made it very clear that it's the fruit of the tree, the blossom. Fruit is anything that is a blossom that we eat that bears seed, whereas anything else, the stalk, the leaf, the root, those are vegetables. But the fruit of it is seeded. So, in regards to this, see, because stalks and roots and leaves don't bear seeds. Now, the important thing to recall is in the three scriptures that lock this in is Genesis 1:29 and 30, and Genesis 3:18. This is for you, Tiger. Excuse me. So, Genesis 29 and 30, and God said, I have given you every herb that yields seed. Stalks and leaves don't yield seed, stems. Which is on the face of all the earth, and every tree whose fruit yields seed, to you it shall be food. Every tree, and he's very direct, a tree whose fruit yields seed. So again, it's like the concept of clean meat. Does it chew the cud and split the hoof? For you, it shall be, meat, your food. And that's in regards to absolutely fruit, and no vegetables. Now, verse 30, I don't think many people go to this verse, but it says, also, to every beast of the earth, to every bird of the air, and to everything that creepeth on earth, in which there is life, I have given every green herb for food. That's why cows can eat grass. That's why the giraffes can pick the leaves off of trees. We can't digest that. We don't have the capacity. But animals do. Okay. So up to that point, legumes, grains, like bean. A bean is a seed. Wheat, grain is a seed. Not to mention watermelon and apples and cucumbers or whatever. They have seeds in them that they could replant and produce more. Now, vegetables were added in the third chapter, verse 18. This is when the fall of man came. Man had completely failed God, and that they hearkened to the devil. They hearkened to that voice, that actual presence, because we know the serpent wasn't the serpent before the fall. Why would Lucifer use a miserable legless animal that's ugly, or at least not real nice looking? He probably used the most beautiful animal in the garden and endowed this animal with the capacity to speak. Now that really blew Eve's mind. But then at the fall, that's when the serpent was reduced to crawling on its belly, and we would stomp at its head and it will bite us in the heel. Well, at that point, we also went into a vegetable, being allowed to eat vegetables. And of course, we're here in verse 3, 18. This is when he's telling us about thorns, but he also tells us about another piece of food that we'll have available to us. I don't think it's a compliment. Both thorns and thistles it shall bring forth for you. And ye shall eat the herb of the field. Now, why would it say you would eat the herb of the field? Well, because obviously prior to that, you weren't. He made it very specific, fruit, grains, legumes. The diet was very basic. It was fruit. The tree of life has fruit. It doesn't have vegetables. You're not getting a stalk of celery or some broccoli off from the tree of life. Oh, I'll just pick this piece of broccoli. No. No, it's fruit. And 144 types of fruit that changes monthly. So the concept is, prior to the fall, we had a perfect diet. After the fall, at the moment of the fall, he ordained vegetables for us. Now, for my sister, that was a curious concept. She thought it was strictly, always vegetables, but no. For the first lesson, I just want you to know that they were introduced later. I don't think it's a compliment. I think they're delicious. I'm a vegetable guy. It's not a compliment. But anyway, so I want to thank you so much for coming and just visiting for a moment or two. And daughter, I love you very, very much. So this is our first lesson, basically dedicated to your aunt. But the next lesson I would like to discuss is holiness and how we can be holy. When you look at our examples, Joseph was a holy man. Job was a holy man in the flesh, which means they still sinned. They still made mistakes continuously, but they were holy because holiness reigned in their lives. God does not want you to be a servant to sin, a slave to sin. He doesn't want you to be, he doesn't want sin reigning over your life. What's in your mind mostly? If it's always wickedness, what can I get away with? Or even anything up to that extreme, bad. You have to love your fellow man, and that's a choice. And when you love your fellow man, you're going to behave so much differently. I love, and I made a decision. I know I'm his. Love you, dear.